Greetings, friends. Welcome to our new moon groups check-in. This is our opportunity and our space to meet in a circle, different groups, different individuals from around the world, and share our recognitions of the past months. This year is an important year for all world servers, and especially esoteric students who know of the significance of the cycles. Our new moon groups check-ins is our opportunity to share our field notes, reflect together, and inquire the way forward together. It's been a special month for all of us, the month of Scorpio, with many tests and trials, or should I say, many opportunities for us to make another step on the path. And today we can share our experiences and inquire the way together forward. Katya and I now are in a short stop to rest on the way from Japan, and we got a little adventure and our car got stuck in the sand, and so we could not move to a better location with good connection, so our video is not possible today, but at least audio I hope will go through. So let us begin with the alignment. Usually we switch off our videos anyway for the alignments that we could tune in with each other, with the sound of each other, with the note of each other from around the world. So I invite us now to turn off our cameras and align together. We align with our own soul. And as a soul, we project our lights into the group circle. And we expand the radiance of our hearts and our minds, linking with each other across space, across continents, meeting around the group chalice. The flame of the group heart. And using creative imagination, let us expand the fire of the group hearts upwards, transforming it into the group Antakarana, the rainbow bridge that relates us to the spiritual hierarchy of the planet. And let us for a few minutes be together in silence, listening to each other and together listening to the hierarchy. And let us sound the mantra of the new group together. May the power of the one life pour through the group of all truth servers. May the love of the one soul characterize the lives of all who seek to aid the great ones. May we fulfill our part in the one work through self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and right speech. Oh. So let us share together. So please activate your videos to help us to hold a connection with each other, see in each other's eyes. And whenever you're ready, please unmute yourself and share what was the most resonant recognition for you in the past months, the month of Scorpio.
I can start. Two things were interesting in the last month or two that I found in sort of that cross-pollination that occurs with our telepathy in different groups. One was an impression as group to bring expanded understanding and more directed focus on the planetary centers. 5 and more of them. There just seems to be a synchronicity in groups that is becoming even more aware of their presence and, in a sense, inspiring us to look a little more deeply into how we align with them in purpose and just in effectiveness of our service. That was one thing. And the other thing that I'll bring out was that there just seems to be an expanding focus on the presence, which I define as that sort of monadic energy that is always there. But there's just something about it being it being kind of affirmed in a new way in many of these groups. It is being acknowledged. It is being reached for. Um, and it's just new. Both of those were aspects that it just sort of became a little bit more clear, maybe not so clear, maybe just more pondering on both of those as one planetary serving group.
Maybe I can build on what you just shared, Andrea. I am at the moment in Costa Rica, and before I was with Margot in the sequel group in Canada. So I am much more aware both of the telepathic field among us and of the different places on our planet and how they are related. These 5 planetary centers and beyond, as you said, we have been recently pondering also in the Nations Lab and also in Sequel Group about the peace poles. And today is the International Day of the Peace Poles. So all these focal points on our planet and how we do become more aware of them, and how they interconnect. So we get more of a sense both of the etheric body of the planet and the Devic life. Yeah, so this is for me in this month the main new, very magical experience.
Thank you, Andrea and Uta. This is Joe. I happen to still be on the Pacific Coast, and I just want to sort of continue to add to both of those sharings. And through all of this active, integrating work in person, really, or online, there is a greater sense not only of the telepathic connectivity growing, expanding, moving far beyond what even some groups may imagine, and that there is this movement beyond awareness there is a new consciousness developing in those who have been part of ageless wisdom work for decades. They're actually beginning to consciously together approach the next steps, the next phases, and then bring that conscious awareness into what I call a new collective consciousness, I guess is the only way I can frame it. It is as if you can, through the groups, almost immediately get a kind of a hit, almost a point of connectivity that is expanding exponentially rather than just sequentially, is the only way I can express it. And it may be, I don't know if this is really the beginning of our seeing and knowing the signals of the fourth ray entrance into greater prominence in the world and for humanity.
Thank you, Joe and Daniela and Uta. This is Claire. Just aware that in our group we have some new members in the circle today, and just want to welcome you into our garden, our gathering, and perhaps suggest that in the chat box we all just say where we are in the planet so that we have a sense of the geography and the lights going on around the globe in a way that connects us all. So welcome to anyone who has not been with us before. I'm Claire, I'm in Dunedin in New Zealand. And I was just sharing with our group before we came online in the bigger group, how I'm just been so aware during the Scorpio phase of the body electric. There was a conference once called Sing the Body Electric, and just aware of my own kind of energy circuitry and how active and activated it is at the moment. And on Friday, I was invited to go for a forest bathing experience. And I've just been so busy and my head has been so buzzy. And I thought, oh, another thing to fit in somewhere. I thought, no, go, go for that walk in the forest. And it was 2 hours of full immersion with the trees. And I just warmly recommend that to all of us. I'm blessed to have a garden, and I know how earthing it is to be in the presence of the plants and the trees and have my hands in the soil and to sleep under the stars at night, as a kind of a way of navigating these incredibly intense times. So yeah, that's been me this month and me in this moment. Thanks for being here.
So for me, this past month, so it was a combination of scorpionic challenges and our grand teacher Saturn squashing and squeezing and pushing me and grinding me. And yet the month was also full of victories. I say yet because it's for the moment, at this moment, I feel very tired, as you can probably hear from a even more coarse voice than usual. So yeah, on to liberation. Thank you, Scorpio. Thank you, Saturn in retrograde.
I know I've already talked, but Claire, you just inspired me because here in the Northeast part of the United States, it's that time of year when we put our gardens to bed and everything looks dead. There are no leaves, there's no green, there's no blossoms. Everything looks like it's gone forever. And it's such a beautiful analogy to do that during the Scorpion time because in that process, I plant bulbs and I think about what that garden will look like in the spring, knowing that that electricity that is in the plant kingdom is just taking a rest and yet will come back with such great triumphant in the spring. And it's a lovely, as I said, analogy to sort of the scorpionic phase of our lives in 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 a wonderful manifestation.
Thank you, Andrea. It's 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 at some point really dawned upon me the amount of this silent life coming in, like a tide. You don't see it swelling, but it is there, and it's a state of the essence, like uh, deep essence, growing, changing, and the manifestation will come in full blazing beauty. Yet the true work is at this moment of push that. And that potency is amazing. You can sense it in this wind forest.
She will come back. It's their internet connection.
Can you hear me now? Yep. So yes, thank you. It's so that I think that is the Scorpio, this moment of this essence becoming stronger because things that we don't need anymore, like old leaves, are gone. And the new is coming to manifestation, and we better be ready for that new cycle. I do agree with this more potent presence of power of the energy of the
Katja, we've lost your connection again. Is Alexander nearby? His connection seemed to be more stable. This is very much how things are at the moment, isn't it? So the silences are a gift too. The connection is not actually broken. The connection is reliable. Even when the internet connection is kind of faltering somewhat, but our connection is reliable. Is there anyone else in the group who would like to share what the Scorpio experience has been like for them? Well, Alexander and Katja maybe find another spot to join us from.
I'll join in. It's Lynn Green. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, in the U.S. And I think what's been on my mind mostly has been trying to remain open to the new paradigms and not to be stuck in the old ways I believe that spirituality ought to be expressed. Oh, I know we need to stick with the principles, but I think it's a challenge to me to remain open. And I'm trying to discipline myself to look for light in everything, in always light in physically, in all different levels. Etherically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, just look for the light everywhere that I can find it. That's mostly what I have right now. Thanks, everyone, for doing this work for us.
I say a little something about the Scorpio. I was reading up about scorpions for the video, actually, and I didn't know they were symbolic of sloughing off their old skin in order to grow, and that symbolically they're about letting go of our old skins, I guess, and moving into the new energies. And I think, like Lynn's saying, I've noticed how much my thought forms have had to change, looking at world politics and world leaders and the strange things happening around the world, and unexpected people stepping into positions. And I believe Uranus is about quite a lot at the moment, and there are certainly some very unexpected events happening, and different people meeting together. And I just found this reference to the scorpion just letting go of its skin in order to grow and expand into the new. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. I would love to share a story just briefly about a tree in my garden. It's a native Nio tree, native to New Zealand. It's a very old tree, and as long as I've lived where I am, I have experienced it as a very thick-trunked single tree with a beautiful crown. And it's been a host to so much life. And in the crux, in the crux, the cradle of its trunk, it accommodated, offered hospitality to an epiphyte, which is a plant that lives in a sort of symbiotic relationship with the tree. And we had very high winds recently, and this epiphyte has been expanding over the years. And in spring, which we are having now, I usually trim it back a bit and give the plants, give the babies off to friends around my peninsula, the peninsula where I live. And I thought, I'd been away and I came back and I thought, oh, the tree needs tending. Next morning, I woke up and the tree had thrown half its weight of epiphytes onto the ground. I thought, that's the most incredible thing. I didn't know they could do that. And 2 mornings later, it threw the rest of its load onto the ground. And what it did was it revealed an entirely different form to the tree. So instead of being a single tree, as I'd always experienced this tree, it revealed a solid base and then this twin that actually opened out into this. I mean, it is the most exquisite form. And I've been so enchanted by the teaching that this tree is offering me at the moment. And it has felt so scorpionic as well. And it's basically just said to me, I no longer want to carry this. And it just was very unequivocal, in its shedding. I was thinking of the Scorpio, Helen, shedding its skin. The tree was doing the same thing, and I wasn't aware that a tree could do that. And it's been quite marvelous. So, yes, I'm sorry, I've spoken more than I should have, but I will pass the microphone on to anybody else who'd like to share a story about this unexpected scorpionic time.
I can try to share if my connection will allow. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. One of the recognitions of Scorpio for me is that no matter how many tests there are, no matter how many challenges there are, the main thing, if I can, each of us can, maintain the balance and not give into the despair or whatever other emotions those tests can create. As long as we stand afloat, it's fine. We'll make it through. We made through so many other things in our lives and through many lives. And this thing will pass. The main thing is that the inner stand, the inner way how we meet the challenge. Uta mentioned that today is the International Day of Peace Balls, and it was one of the most interesting experiences for me, for us, probably Katya and Daniela will agree, visiting the Mount Fuji sanctuary, where the May Peace Prevail on Earth International located. That's that's their place from where they do their work. It's a sanctuary next to Mount Fuji, which is also, it's one of greatest highlights of this month was to meet this presence, to be in presence of this sacred mount. But I first will finish talking about the peace balls. And the founder of this movement, actually, when he came up with the idea of the peace balls, the main idea was that each of us can and should become a peace pole. Peace poles, as we know, and probably many of us have in our gardens, is just a symbol of anchoring intention. But the main thing is that each human being should become a peace pole, that anchoring point. And so that's possible only if we maintain this inner balance, if this inner poise. And it's interesting that when we connect at the beginning, and each of us wrote where we're located in, it's a certain recognition of that each of us is this acupuncture point on the surface of this beautiful planet. And each of us anchors that intention and of harmony. And whenever we can, we anchor that sense of inner poise, balance in this, trying to bring at least some balance into this chaos around us. And can you hear me still? Yes?
Yes.
About Mount Fuji. Several years ago, I heard a beautiful story when we were by Mount Uluru in Australia, another sacred mount. And there, Aboriginal people tell about so-called stone lines. You might have heard of those as ley lines. So those energy highways that connect sacred places on the planet. And Aboriginal people call them song lines, and they say that they can find the way in the space across desert by listening to song lines and by singing their own songs. And so that was a recognition for me by being by Mount Fuji, is that that's many of our locations where we're located have such sacred places, have such sacred places of power, which are connected with other places of power around the planet. And that's the energy network of the planet. And when we add the energy network between us, consciously holding our connection, holding our triangle, holding our group connections, holding our intergroup connections. So these two powerful energy networks, the planetary energy network and our human energy network together, becomes a very powerful tool. And yes, we can sing songs together. We can sound intentions together, and those intentions can influence what is happening around us, what is happening on the planet. And yes, devas are singing their songs too. And yes, they can hear us. And yes, we can meet in those energy points, and we can meet on those ley lines. I think I will stop there.
Alexander, are you thinking that by positioning ourselves on any of the ley lines, that we're even more strongly connected because the ley lines are all integrated together.
I didn't see the first part of the question. Can you say it again?
Lynn, you're
Lynn,
muted. You're muted, Lynn. You need to.
Thank you. Are you saying, Alexander, that you think that by being on any ley line anywhere, that we're even more strongly connected since all of the ley lines are connected? I could be in a ley line here, you could be in a ley line on the other side of the world, and that would be an even stronger connection just because of the connection of the ley lines?
I think so. And more than that, I think it's in a way one of the ways how we can get how to say it, into synchronizations with the kingdom, with the power of the earth. When we sound our intention that is resonant with the hierarchical intention, that's our possibility to magnify the sound of our intention, our collective intention.
If I could add to that at some point, in one of the Alice's lecture, I read that she was asked about the anchoring of the energy, and she's mentioned that in order to anchor, you need to have a physical anchor, somebody there. That is the way. So I think that people who are working in those high potency places, they definitely are working with the energy in a greater way. But also, I believe that new group is becoming that ley line in its own between hierarchy and humanity. So, but the physical points of physical manifestation are important. Yeah. And I think it is important for the groups to come and connect with those who work in those places. So, yeah, I agree with Alex. Thank you, Lynn.
Alexander, when you indicated that we become the peace poles, that is, we become those grounding agents that are receiving and magnetizing into and through the earth and all of the manifestations of God as a result. And it occurred to me that what is sort of like what Joe said, in that we become that sort of receiving, that receptor for the fourth ray, which again ties in what you said about anchoring that intention for harmony. It's just a lovely thought that we are each a peace pole, because we are, and there are millions of us.
Picking up on the ley line conversation, it draws me back again to the trees and to the mycelium network, which is one of those outpicturings of as above, so below. And so the trees are the visible markers of connection points, but there's this incredibly subtle, delicate, tender, fine network below the surface that is not visible to us, but that is at work constantly, sending and receiving messages and detecting where there is vulnerability in the system and being able to provide the nutrients required. And in many ways, I think our etheric network and the telepathic network is another iteration of the mycelium network, which is Gaia's kind of imprint that we can learn from too. It's very beautiful, all the kind of the symmetry around all of this. There's so much more than what we see, that is mysteriously and quietly getting on with the work of connecting and healing and nourishing. Yeah, I find that very comforting.
Could the heart connections be ley lines between all of us and all the rest of the world on the soul level, so where the ley lines connecting soul to spirit realm to the, I don't know, it's all pretty sacred. And there are ley lines, the heart is too. Thanks.
I think that makes sense too, because the hierarchy being the heart center of the planet, and it seems to me that it's approaching closer and closer and sort of intermingling with us in some way, more so than it ever has. And that would seem to me to be at least an analogy that those connections we feel are like ley lines. That love we feel, and I think we feel it even more strongly because of what seems like, maybe other people disagree, what seems like a mingling so much more than ever before between the new group and the hierarchy. Thank you.
Yes. And thank you, Kiki. It's of course, at this point in time, this fourth ray coming with strongly with the idea of harmony. Harmonization happens through the ley lines of the heart connections. An expansion of the heart allows to this harmony to be established through conflict, because everything that comes in disturbs the balance, disturbs the harmony. So this for the heart to expand and create new harmony, allow it to happen.
Listening to the idea of the ley lines and the songs and the shared songs, you just give me some inspiration for next time I do the prayers in church. I think it's a week after next. I shall introduce this idea of the various churches in our parish and in the diocese, and the links between them, and the sound of the singing from all those churches linking together. I'll feed it in some way, and hopefully that also brings that whole group of church-going people just touch us, so that they get a sense of this networking and of the greater picture. So thank you. pursue that.
Is there anyone else who would like to share before we go into meditation? I think Alexander's connection is indicating, well, he's not there. So I think what we'll do is we will we will move into meditation. I will share my screen and we'll play a short piece of other poet music just to allow what's been shared in the space to land and settle and take some root. And we might just have a couple of minutes of silence before we close up for the day. Thank you all.
So, dear friends, following an unexpected flow, we will end our gathering today here with our little ritual with the last sentence of the Great Evocation, where I'll try to be far, where we scoop the lights and love and power, bring it to the earth plane, offer it in blessing to the earth, and then through Dharma Chakra Mudra, we pronounce the first thumb here, the second with the hands in a gesture of generosity, and the third one where we offer everything we have to the group. And this time I will be voicing a silent so please feel free to voice your own. So let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Thank you, dear friends. Many blessings on our intense path and beautiful too. Thank you.